Hi guys, welcome back. It's Angela from the App Brewery once more. So in the last lesson, we looked at the power of variables and how we can easily create them using the var keyword. Now in this lesson, I want to cover some really important points about how you should name your variables so that you're in keeping with programming best practice. So currently I've still got the snippets and the console from the last lesson. Now this is a good point to show you that if you want to clear the console because it's getting a bit too messy or you're seeing too many messages, then you can simply hold down Command and press K on Mac, and on Windows you can hold down Control and press K, and this will clear your console. But remember, this does not clear the information that's been stored inside the browser. So for example, if I write my name again, it will still know that my name has the value of Angela. So in order to clear all of the data, we're going to have to do a hard clean. We're going to have to empty all of our cache and delete all of the data. So to do that, on the Mac, you can click and hold on the reload page and you will get this menu. So you have normal reload, hard reload, and empty cache and hard reload. So this is kind of like the supersized version of reloading. And on a PC, you just simply need to right click on the reload button to get that menu. And now if I click that, if I typed my name, then it would not know what it is. It says it's undefined. It doesn't have a clue what it is. So we've managed to successfully clear all of the memory of any data. So let's go ahead and delete what's inside our snippets as well so that we start off with an empty slate. And what I want to show you is that there are some rules that govern how you should name your variables. Now, so far we've been naming our variables my name or your name, and that kind of makes sense for the context that we've been using it in. But actually, it doesn't matter what you call your name. You could call it any string you like, and JavaScript really doesn't care. But if I ask you, what do you think means? What would you say? If accidentally I've managed to actually write a real word in Icelandic, because it's distinctly possible, then maybe it'll have a meaning for the Icelandic students out there. But for most people, this doesn't make any sense. And when I try to use it or print it, I mean, I can if I remember it exactly the way that I typed it, but you can see that this is a really, really bad idea. So just because JavaScript doesn't care doesn't mean that we don't care. We should care a lot, because imagine working on the same project as some guy who likes to call his variables and you have to figure out what all of these things mean. You know, what exactly is Angela? Is it what does it mean, right? It's kind of like if you only speak English and 我只会说中文, it would be pretty hard for us to be friends or work together, right? So always give meaningful names to your variables, and remember that with great power comes great responsibility. Or even better, remember that the next person who has to look after your code could very well be an axe murderer. So there are some common rules that good programmers will follow. First of which is give your variables meaningful names so that anybody can figure out quite easily what is the data that's likely to be stored inside it. It's like if you had named all of your folders on your desktop untitled folder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then you will be spending hours and hours digging through each of these folders trying to find the things that you're looking for. And instead, if you named it pictures or movies or documents, then it would be a lot easier to try and figure out what they contain. And it's the same story here with variable naming. So aside from this, there are certain things that JavaScript will not let you do when you're trying to name your variables. So for example, I can't call my variable var, because this would be insanely confusing. And JavaScript does not actually allow you to do this. You can see that we've got this little error here, and it already tells us that we can't structure our code like this. But you can, however, have a variable name that contains keywords. So, for example, if you called it myvar, that's totally valid. And you can see from the coloring or the syntax highlighting, it's already showing you that this is valid and this color is reserved for keywords. Now, the other rule is that your variable name cannot begin with a number. So for example, you can't call your variable 123. This is also not allowed. However, like keywords, your variable name can contain numbers. So you call it my 123, and that's totally cool. The next rule is that your variable names can't contain spaces. So it can't be my name equals Angela. This makes absolutely no sense because it treats that space as if you're trying to write another different bit of code. The first word that comes after var and a space is going to be seen as the name of your variable. So your variable is called my, and so it doesn't know what to do with this extra name thing that you've squeezed in here. So no spaces, basically. And finally, the names can only contain letters, numbers, the $sign, and an underscore. No other symbols are valid for naming a variable. So for example, you can't call your variable my dash name. This is not valid. However, if you wish, you can call it my underscore name. That is a valid variable name. Now, finally, the last thing that you'll see me do throughout the course is that I will name all of my variables using camel casing. And this means that I will start out the name with a lowercase word, and then every subsequent word will be capitalized. And this is called camel casing. Just as the camel's humps are higher than its head, first word is not capitalized and every subsequent one is. And the reason why this is really useful is because you avoid situations like therapistfinder.com, which most people will read as therapistfinder.com. So make sure that when you're creating your own variables, that you're following the same good practice that we've listed in this lesson. And in the next lesson, there's a quick quiz just to test whether if you've remembered and embraced some of these rules regarding variable naming. So I'll see you on the next lesson.